From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with the recon vote happening today. Yes, you heard me right. I predicted first. I told you that the recon deal had happened, and I told you that the vote would be happening today. Well, guess what? It is. Nancy Pelosi told legislators Thursday morning the recon vote should start as early as today, with the roads and bridges coming for a vote after it. The latest recon price tag is 1.75, but new congressional details suggest that it's likely at 1.95 and that it's not particularly paid for. Breaking news on that as well. But the big one is the programs in, programs out. In this recording, I'm going to have a lot of breaking news as more details about the programs are in. And you've seen in this channel in the last 2 days that no less than 2 programs were added, another one added today. Meantime, if we have time, we'll go over student loan debt forgiveness, and also we'll be going over fifth stimulus as well. But boy, this is a jam-packed recording because we have a lot of things happening, and this is a late afternoon's recording, recorded minutes before you see it. First, the recon going for a vote Thursday evening, Nancy Pelosi told the legislators. It may still not, because maybe it's not ready. I'll explain the details in this recording. Then, more programs added overnight. First, prescription medication added, then it's paid leave added, and now, as I had predicted, the third of 3 predictions coming true as well. SALT has now been added as well. What else could be added overnight? I have the latest details as well as we go into a big afternoon's recording. It starts right here, right now, with the recon vote happening as early as tonight. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. And here we go. A vote is set Thursday evening in the recon, and a deal reached in the recon. 1.95 currently. When would the roads and bridges call for a vote? Friday, the day after. The price is right. It's likely at 1.95 now and is only paid for at 1.45. A big a gap of $500 billion not paid for. The breaking details on that. Programs in, programs out. I have more programs added today, and that is in addition to no less than 3 of 3 programs I told you they were going to get in there. They got them in there. To the extent that we have time, I will also be turning to student loan debt forgiveness and also the big fifth stimulus across the board. It's a big jaw-dropping recording. I'm really excited for you. I literally have close to 45 pages of notes, and 30 of them are just from the last hour. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record, because you're not going to see the breadth of the reporting or the accuracy or the advance notice of items across the board. Like this video and consider becoming a member. The statements that legislators are saying about Nancy Pelosi's calling the vote on the recon tonight is that they don't know particularly what's in the recon. Maybe they're not watching this channel. Let's go over what's in the recon that was passed in a subcommittee $3.5 trillion 3 weeks ago, and provisions modified across the board. Those provisions are a cluster of checks for you across 3 sections, what I call 3 clusters, and those clusters collectively pay you about $15,000. This is a huge payout. As soon as it becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get these $15,000 of checks in this incredible, wonderful recon that is currently at a $1.95 trillion price tag. Let's go over each of these clusters of checks one at a time, and this is the breaking news of what's in and out, and this is likely what is in at the time of the vote, not the time of this recording. I'm also going to have more detail about new provisions I'm hearing just for the first time this afternoon that are in there that I never knew were in there. So here we go. It's getting better by the minute. Hazard pay got in there. The earned income tax credit for 1 more year. Elder care for $4,000 got in there. Then they got money for caring for the young children, $4,000 as well. They got the home repairs in there. Good. If you're a little low-income community, they have free home repairs in there as well. Checks for you for those low-income home repairs. They got $550 checks for college students with the Pell's grant expanded. They got checks for $3,600 or $3,000 for 1 year for the CTC, the child tax credit, expanded 1 additional year. Then they got money in there for the bikes, cars, and trucks, all electric, all U.S. auto manufactured, 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike. And I'm pausing myself. Why? Because I believe I now see it's going to be $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, not $7,500. Wow, that is incredible. Then that is the first cluster of checks, all passed, all coming to you, and everything that it was in there is staying in there, and now they're actually going bigger from $7,000 to $12,000 for that one particular item across the board. The first add-on from Maxine Waters at $25,000 for the purchase price of a first home did not survive. But the other provisions from Maxine Waters did survive. Home repairs, which you just saw, for low income. And now we're going to see other home repairs, not low income, got in there. Free home repairs, checks for free home repairs. Wonderful deliciousness. Also rent and utilities, boy, because remember, when third stimulus passed, I said I can get you $15,000. The average view of this channel has gotten $45,000 from third stimulus. If you haven't, stay with me. I'm going to show it later to you in this video, how you can get $45,000 from third stimulus. But when fourth stimulus comes along, I'm going to show you how to get at least $15,000 to start. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. Here we go. And boy, this is great news. Paid leave and family leave in there. This will be upwards of thousands of dollars per person. I'll have the calculation for you later in this video. Household tax credit in there. Pre-kindergarten for 1 year. This is in there. This is a couple $1,000s. Free community college out. And then they got money in there to weatherize your home. Definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if Nancy comes knocking on the door saying, we're ready to vote today. I'm not ready. I'm rushing on set. I'm not ready. No, don't weatherize your home because you want the vote. Let's go to the second add-on. Excuse me, the second add-on, and it got in there. It's incredible. It's game-changing. It is free home health care if you're a senior or person on disabilities. Now, Medicare will cover free home health care if you're a senior or person on disabilities. It was slated for $250. They got a little bit less. It's about $190. This would not be a direct check to you. They would pay it to the county or state, and then they would offer you the services totally free. Wow. Let's go to the third clusters of checks. And what I want to tell you is that when I say I don't know, it means I literally don't know, because I'm seeing today that a lot of other print reporters, not this is a print channel, print reporters are suggesting other packages. I never even heard of some of these provisions. So when I tell you I don't know, it literally means I don't know. Free school meals for all, got it in there. Those checks got in there, and that's additional $65 per month when the kid is not in school. They got cheaper medication in there, and this will drop medication prices from thousands of dollars to $35 in some cases. Immigration reform in there. Farmers, I don't know. It was passed. I don't know if it's still in there. Free internet. I believe it's in there, but I don't know for certain. I know clean energy is out. I don't know what the independent contractors is out. It may be in there. And then the dental, vision, and hearing. Let's go over those details live on camera right now. So they got the hearing in there, which will be about, $300 for a hearing aid. But I don't know if it's a direct check to you or just it's covered by your benefits. They're still pushing to put dental and vision in there, and that could be up towards $150 a year for vision, and a voucher of $850 for dental is where they left that out. Voucher means an actual check to you of $850. So that is still a fluid situation. How can you still have a fluid situation? We're going to call a vote tonight. I'll explain the details for you later in this video. I first unearthed it yesterday, which brings us to now the third add-on, which of course is that monthly stimulus check. Let's go right to the meat of the potato right now, which is that Nancy Pelosi says, I got it. Senators want to do a lot of other things, but as House members, we've done what we're ready to call vote on. And if you still want to make changes, you can still make changes. That's very much what I've been saying for a while. Senators have said we have a lot of other stuff to add to it. And she's basically saying, you want to take the lead, let me send it over to the Senate, and you can start adding stuff in there. And that is why it's important, because Chuck Schumer's office told Donnie last week, told Donnie's wife the week before, told Debbie Applegate that he's inserting a monthly IRS stimulus check. There's still room with it. And you're now seeing how the recon went from 1.75 to 1.95 and is not actually even 100% paid for by taxes, as the president had represented. So there's a lot of room to add that MSC IRS stimulus check in there after there is a House bill, but before there's a House vote, or if the House doesn't take care of it, which they may not, they can do it on the Senate side. Several ways they can do it on the Senate side. Yesterday, I detailed a new way, which is if this legislation goes to a Senate subcommittee from Chuck Schumer, then there would be several days to modify the language in that Senate subcommittee before the Senate calls it for a vote or before the vote-a-rama. Now let's go over that incredible statement of advocacy, which is so important because this is where you ramp up. You ramp up for advocacy as we get very, very close to the finish line. And as the voting starts, this is where you need to ramp up. So have you called the House members today? That's what I would say, is because the House members are ready to vote. And the second half of this video, you're going to see some House members saying, no, I'm missing provisions in here. I want them added in there. That is why you need to call Omar, AOC, Jalapal, and Pelosi today. They now have been told between congressional and senator's office receive more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. Wow. We have surpassed the American petition. I hope print and press covers this channel understands your advocacy has been louder than anyone else. They are overwhelmed by the outpouring of touching stories. Now they have a better understanding of what the average Americans are trying to go through to make it through this pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories, and they have the voice of people across the country in LALATE, as you have been too loud to be ignored. Very kind. Let's read the last sentence on air together. What does the last sentence say? Please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy. As a professional voice of the people, you have become until this becomes law. Very, very kind. Well, there you go. You need to advocate because guess what? You need to advocate on the House side. And if the House members don't take care of it, you have to advocate on the Senate side. In the second half of this video, we have just a lot going on, folks. A recon bill done. A recon deal done. Question mark, and a recon vote, all within the next few hours after this show airs. A deal's happening, and I may potentially go live on Evenings LA because it is such a fluid situation. I will see how scheduling is for today. A deal happening, and the voting will be happening as early as tonight. Nancy Pelosi told her legislators Thursday morning, get ready for the vote tonight. I was the one who told you earlier this week. She always calls votes on Thursday night. Get ready for the recon vote tonight, and now we know the roads and bridges would not be tonight. It would be tomorrow. The price is right. 1.75? No, it's going to about 1.95, but not particularly paid for. And to the extent that we have time for student loan debt, I'll get to that. But the big one is the programs in, programs out. I have a lot of details on that. As we go into a big second half of this recording, boy, get ready for, hold on to your seats because it's just heating up. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now, direct from Santa Monica, California, as the second half of this video heats up. A deal's happening. A deal has happened, but how fluid is the situation? I'll explain the latest details. And a vote is happening as early as tonight, Thursday night. Will the vote happen tonight as Nancy Pelosi wants it? I'll have the latest details. Price is right, 1.75, but it may go higher. 1.95 is what it's looking like at the moment. And it's not particularly paid for either. What happened with that? And programs in, programs out, the biggest details you've seen ever on this recording, because I have a lot of new details about what is in and what is out. And boy, here we go. and this is Afternoons LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Join me next with Evenings LA. It may be live, it may be taped right before it airs. I don't know, depending on my scheduling, but boy, it's a very fluid situation with potential vote at the time that Evenings LA airs. Here we go, but get ready for the details because I'm going to start first with the dramatics. The dramatics started Thursday morning. Well, they started earlier last week when Nancy Pelosi took the draft of the recon and sent to the Rules Committee, a subcommittee of the House, say, mark it up, make changes, and send to the senators, send to the House members. Over the next few days, they made changes and advocated for provisions to be added. Then we had the big details about 3 days ago when I told you on this channel that the progressives on the House said we're no longer blocking the roads and bridges, just call them for a vote at the same time. And I said to you over the last 2 days after I heard that Nancy's going to call both of them for the vote on the House side at the same time and that she loves Thursday nights. She called the vote in September on a Thursday night. She attempted to call the vote in October on a Thursday night. She likes Thursday nights. And the news is the following. Thursday morning, she said to her caucus, get ready to vote on the recon Thursday night. And this is what she is hoping for. Now, will it happen? Let me go over the details and as we talk first about the vote, and then we're going to talk about why the vote, and then we're going to go over what is actually in the recon, because I know this is a very fluid situation. First, the vote on the House side. Nancy Pelosi had meetings Thursday morning that says she wants the vote to happen Thursday night. And the response was some moderate Democrats say, no, we're not quite sure what's in the recon. Have you been watching my channel? Then some other moderates said they need more information about some economic numbers, namely how much is paid for when we're doing this recon. And the president says paid for by this, paid by for that, taxes paid for by that. They do not have a Congressional Budget Office report, CBO, and they've been asking for that for a while. So they do not have that ready. So some moderate Democrats say, I want to see that. There was a closed-door meeting Thursday morning in which she said, we need you to do the vote on the roads and bridges today, on the recon Thursday night, and that we'll do the recon bill Friday. So your recon will go first, and then the roads and bridges will go on Friday. But some people during that meeting, which went on for two hours on Thursday morning, said, we're fine with the scheduling, but the problem is we don't know what is still in the recon because you're changing it so quickly. And we also don't know how it's paid for. Additionally, 12 to 15 moderate Democrats said that they are not ready to vote on the recon tonight because, one, they're not sure what's in there. Two, they want to digest new budget data that came in from the Committee on Taxation today, and that they want a little bit more clarity on what the status is on some of these provisions on the Senate side. I don't think Nancy's going to defer on that because this is what I've been telling you for the last few days. It all changed about 2 days ago when Nancy basically said, you know what? I'm tired of waiting around. Let's just call a vote. You saw the quote on this channel for the last 2 days from Bernie, Jalopal, and Nancy. They said, you know what? If there's someone complaining about something, just call for a vote. And let's see if they really want to vote it down. We're calling your bluff because we really don't think you're going to vote it down. You're just a complainer. You're just a complainer. And so they said, just call the vote. Just call the vote. And if you're going to vote it down, we'll see it, and then we'll go back and amend it. And so that is totally different than a week ago where we said, don't call the vote on the recon if it's not done yet. Now they're saying, no, just call the vote. And if you're going to vote it down, then you vote it down. And that is where we are. Now, we have some senators coming into the equation say, don't call the vote on the House because, as Bob Menendez says, we don't have the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office report. And we have some senators saying to House members, don't call the vote yet. But there are a lot of people saying we need to just call this vote and get it going. We need to advance the bill to the senators as an opportunity to use their rules. This is exactly what I said. Bernie, Jalopal, and Pelosi saying. Meaning, we're House members. We've done our job. If you want to change stuff on the Senate, because the senators have been the lead negotiators, send it to the Senate. It's sort of like a football. If you want to run with a football and you're not sure if you want to punt or if you want to run it, then give it to the player, the senators, and let you decide. I'm just carrying the ball on the field as a House member. Here's the ball for you. You take it and you run with it. I'm going to finish it out of the House, send it to you, and then you do the changes. In my heart of hearts, I believe that's what's going to happen. I think the House members saying, you're leading the negotiations as senators. You take and you make the decision. Democratic whip Jim Claiborne has said that he's not going to stay in town this weekend. Oh, wow. Surprise, Jim. Why am I bringing that up? Because several Democrats have been asked to stay in town this weekend to potentially do both bodies of law if they don't get it done Thursday night. So I'm pre-warning you. That if they do not call the vote on Thursday night, then they're basically saying, hey, stay in town to this weekend. Now, the Senate Democrats leave for recess Thursday afternoon and return November 15th. If you've been with this channel for a long time, you know this has been a running joke on this channel. You just call them back into session with a one-page memo as the majority, as Steny Hoyer would do, or Chuck Schumer, and they have to come back. So the fact they're on recess means nothing. They can be ordered back by the speaker or by the majority leader. So there you go. That is the situation on the vote tonight. My opinion situation, I think you will see whether the vote happens by about 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you do want to stay up with me, and I am up, I will be somewhere in one of the live chats sending my details across the board. The price is right, 1.75. No, it's going to be about 1.95, and it's not particularly paid for. Why is it 1.95? Because paid leave got in there. You're going to see in a second that paid leave was added yesterday. It was the second of 3 provisions I told you they're going to add before the vote on the House side, and they did. And is that entirely paid for at 1.95? It's not. So here we go. What's important to note before I go over to programs in, programs out, what I want to say is this graphic. The deal happening. Nancy and Bernie and Jalapal and everyone involved for the House vote is looking at the following. We know that there's certain senators who are complainers. That's the best way to put it. They're complainers. They're not particularly going to vote things down. They're complainers. And we can't sit around waiting to hear them complain and not really give us clarity. So you know what? Send it to the Senate and have Chuck take care of it. So a deal happening for purpose of the House. Potentially a deal has happened, but for purposes of the Senate, yes, there's still a lot of negotiations and provisions to be added. So let's go over the programs in and programs out. And boy, this is a lot of the recording. So get back, get that cup of coffee, a cappuccino, or a cafe latte, because I got a lot for you. What's important to understand is at the time of this recording, this is what's in, and this is what's likely to stay in through the end of the House. I don't believe any of these provisions will fall out before they come to the Senate. They can fall out on the Senate side, but I believe these are all going to the final vote. They're in the actual House bill, and here we go across the board. Remember, when we talk about these provisions, will pay you about $15,000. This is huge. It'll pay the average viewer about $15,000. And you heard earlier in this recording, if you're just joining the show late in this recording, that the MSC is still on play and can be added during the House vote, but more likely during the Senate side. And that's what Nancy's saying. You have stuff to add, send it over to the Senate. Okay. We started the week with me reporting, actually last week, and where I said 3 provisions that are out are going in. I told you paid leave and family leave going in. It got in yesterday. I told you the cheaper prescription medication going in. It got in the day before. Then I told you salt was going in. It got in this today. So now, 3 of 30 things that I predicted that were going in there got in there that were not in there by Halloween night. So let me go over some of the provisions. There may be some repetition because some of these numbers are new. Some of these provisions, we see more clarity than ever before. So paid leave and family medical leave are in there, $200 billion. That was the price tag I told you. This is more than it originally was at, $100 billion. It's at $200 billion. That is why the recon is now at about 1.95. And this will run for 6 years. Yeah. So I'm surprised by that. If the phrasing of the sentence from this report is correct, it's for 6 years, but I'll take it with a grain of salt. Then pre-kindergarten is in there. The preschool for 3 to 4 years are in there. That's for 1 year. Then the home health care. The hearing aid is in there for people on Medicare. Then SALT is in there, which will allow taxpayers to write off up to $72,500 of what they pay in state and local taxes, which is more than Trump's $10,000 Republican set in the 2019 standard. Prescription medication in there. This is new numbers here for the first time on Afternoons LA. It will be 10 cheaper drugs by 2025, and then 20 total drugs cheaper by 2028. and that they cannot raise prices faster than inflation. Although my notes showed it was faster than 2021 inflation. So I like that better than any inflation, because inflation is going down, next year. And that they can never pay more than $35 out of their own pockets for insulin products. Huge win. Then $40 billion on job training. Yes, this is new. I never covered this on the channel. I did not know this got in there. $40 billion for job training. So if you want free job training, they will offer it. Then they will, this is brand new as well. You remember how I told you that Raphael Warnock and Jim Claiborne got a solution to Medicare that was not being offered, Obama subsidies was not being offered in some states. What happened was there's a Medicare gap. Because of Obamacare, where they expanded across 50 states, the Republican states were offering it to their citizens, but not paying for it. So what did Democrats do? They figured out a workaround plan. You're hearing for the first time tonight on Afternoons LA, where they will provide you free private insurance in those Republican states to low-income uninsured people. Wow. Let me say that again, because that's a lot. That's great news. If you're low income, you're in a Republican state, you can now have private insurance if your state is led by a Republican governor and they do not want to carry Obamacare. Wow, that is huge. Then immigration reform will be in there at the moment, which is about identification cards. It's not checks for them. Tax hikes. Then they got a surtax on individual income over $10 billion. $10 million. Obamacare tax credits are in there. Housing, $150 billion for housing, which is construction, $1 million for affordable new and rental and single-family homes, rent assistance. And then aid to help people cover the purchase price of a new home. You found my error. I thought it didn't get in there. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot. I told you so surprised. I guess the Maxine Waters provision got in there. They got some money in there for the purchase price of a new home. It's maybe not $25,000, but I don't know the amount. Wow. That's why you stay to the very end. There's always something big coming in the show. $150 billion for in-home health care. God, the list keeps on going on. $550 more for the Pell Grant students. And then there is the $550 for climate, $555 billion for climate, is not just for climate, it's actually for you. So this is brand new. We thought the 550 was all for, manufacturing and stuff like that. Not true. So first of all, there will be a lot of money for people that suffer natural disasters. There will be new climate cores that will allow people, that will give money for planting trees. There will be $12,500 for purchase of a new electric vehicles made by Ford, GM, and Chrysler. Yes, this does exclude Toyota and Tesla, so they're not unionized. And then they got money in there for college, for tuition, for nutrition, $65 per child when they're not in school, and then that money when they are in school. Boy, that is the rundown. Now let's go over a little bit of the specifics, as if that was not specific enough. I told you yesterday the breaking news was that paid family leave got in there. Paid family leave is a very big provision. And how much does it pay you? They do not have the calculations, but they had proposed it at upwards of $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 a year, that would be $800 a week. If you make $15,000 a year, which is really low income, that would be upwards of $400 a week. What is paid family leave? It is if you have to stay home because your wife is pregnant and is about to give birth, or you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. Well, it is in there. And I'm going to have the details of it for you starting right now. Let's go over the details of the paid family leave that got in there. The paid family leave that got in there is 4 weeks, and it is $200 billion. And it will cover anyone that has to deal with birth of a new child, care of a family member, death, or deal with illness or injury, among other things. And this will cover all workers. So you're hearing the details for the first time. I haven't been able to read through all this. So this is huge. This is what I wanted for you. This is all workers. This is not just W-2s, all workers. Illness, injury, family member, birth of a new child, and this would be huge. It would be about 4 weeks. I believe it's 4 weeks. And the 4 weeks means that you could, in essence, get thousands of dollars. That you could get as low as potentially $1,600 if you're out for 4 weeks, and as high as potentially, $4, $5, $6,000. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. Prescription medication, they got that in, and you saw that 2 days ago. The rolling domino effect was prescription medication, then paid leave, and then today the SALT. So, what is the prescription medication? It's huge. It will cover 30 drugs by 2028. It's starting at a few less, and then it ramps up more per year. And it'll cover Medicare Part B and Medicare Part D. This includes cancer and arthritis medication. This is all Medicare. What is this? What happened here? Well, when Medicare was established decades ago, it said that they would have to pay the price of prescription medication at whatever the cost is and pass that burden upon you, the senior. Medicare could not negotiate the price of prescription medication. For 20 years, Big Pharma pushed against changing the legislation because they wanted to stick it to you with whatever big price they could charge. Well, that fell apart finally for them this week when the legislators got an agreement, and it came because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden inked this, the biggest achievement of the entire recon, that was overshadowed by that overseas climate conference. The President of the United States on a last Wednesday night, picked up the phone, called Kristen Sinema, the big person who was causing issues for this situation, and said, you got to expand this. You got to come on board with me. And she said, yes. He expanded the prescription medication now to be B and D, and means that now you will no longer have to pay exorbitant prices for medication as a senior in this country. It's incredible. And if you did not watch my narrative about this yesterday, Kristen Sinema no longer is opposing anything in the recon. So she's on board with everything in the recon. In the case of Joe Manchin, he's hemming and hawing about paid leave and other things. Not that he's against them. Actually, let me address that right now. So what is Joe Manchin's position on paid leave? This is sort of why they're sending the recon right over to the Senate. His position 2 weeks ago was, I will vote against it. Then and you need to take it out. His position was take it out. So Nancy took it out. Then his position said, when it came back in, he says, I'm really uncomfortable with it. I thought you were against it. Now you're just uncomfortable with it. And then when asked for further clarity yesterday, he said, I like it. Just do it by partisanship. Yeah. So there you go. Chuck Schumer heralded this win for the inclusion of this money as big for prescription medication. And he said, yes, we're going to try to get more over the next few years and continuing next year. We had great comments across the board. It's really good for seniors. To Scott Peters, Democrat from California. We have others like Dick Durbin saying this is a good beginning. We have Kristen Sinema saying it's great. We have Jan Skalkohouse saying it's very powerful, considering how much opposition we had from Big Pharma. And we have Ron Wyden saying, you know what, this is transformative. So I had told you those two would become law, and now you see SALT. SALT is in the recon tonight and will be part of the vote on the recon. SALT was part of Gothenheimer. Gothenheimer, as I detail on this channel, had been advocating for the inclusion of SALT since last Friday, Nancy for paid leave since last Thursday, and Bernie for the cheaper prescription medication since Thursday. I mean, they've been advocating since day one, but they really ramped up their advocating, and now SALT is in there. SALT is really good because it is great for people in big states like New York, New Jersey, California, and Texas and Florida. And there you go. So, of the provisions that are in there, is one of them able to be fallen out? Well, tonight, we now learned that potentially not one, but two provisions could be removed. Which ones are them? One, paid leave, we're learning tonight, may not survive the Senate parliamentarian. There's a lot of inside analysis that says paid leave may not survive the Senate parliamentarian. If it falls out, you know the price tag. It's $200 billion. $200 billion is enough for MSC. I mean, that $200 billion is a lot of money. So that could fall out. Also, I'm predicting the fallout is the immigration reform. Immigration reform has previously been ruled by the parliamentarian as not belonging in a recon. It's likely to be removed. A lot of people are saying tonight, why are we calling the vote on it in there if the parliamentarian's removing it? You're asking us to do double work, because remember, if we're passing something that has something in there that's going to fall apart, why do that now? Very, very interesting. So Bernie Sanders says it's the best bill since the 1960s, but has major gaps in it. Have any of his gaps been closed up? Not really. So that shows you how Nancy and the House members, and including Bernie, says, just send it over to the Senate. Just send it over to us, and we will take care of it. We have Ron Wyden, who loves to legislate. He's Mr. FPUC Retro, and he says there's big gaps in here as well. Ron Wyden says it's not done to the Senate acts. So it's like, okay, House, good, do what you got to do. But he says a significant amount of work to be done. Then we have senator after senator talking about how much work they have to have done. Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, says there's a lot of proposals that need to be addressed. Jolapal said senators have been texting me all week and weekend long for their add-ons. AOC saying that there's a lot of negotiations happening. Debbie Stabile now saying the same thing as well. She's a Democrat senator from Michigan. And Chuck waiting for that Senate parliamentarian. So it's very important to understand, with all that fluidity, what provision do I think will be going in there and include in addition to the advocacy for an MSE? The provision I think that would be going in there on the Senate side is certainly the dental and the vision. Let's go over some of my notes to show up where the problems may erupt on the Senate side. The problems that may erupt on the Senate side is some of the language that was in the recon as of a few days ago made no sense. Why did Joe Manchin say it's a faux 1.75? It's a fake 1.75 because of what I said. I mean, not because he heard me and repeated it, but we're saying the same messaging. That when you look at the drafting, it says permanent, meaning it's going to renew every year. So if things are renewing it every year for $100 billion, it's not $100 billion once, it's $100 billion every year. And people are calling it 1.75. That's why a lot of people are saying send it to the CBO for them to do the analysis, because I don't buy it, is what they're saying. This is not 1.75, it's 17.5. So let me go over the examples of what's at issue. Pre-kindergarten, free checks for pre-kindergarten. If you have a 3 or 4 year old, checks for 1 year. Then you'll get $3,600 or $3,000 checks direct to you. For that child tax credit, if you make less than a certain amount of money. My notes show $60,000, but the draft says $150,000. I think that's an error. Earned income tax credit, you will get money for that as essential worker. Great news. Then home health care. You will get that free home health care, not a check, but it'll be offered as a free program through Medicaid. But I think it may also be through Medicare. But here's where a problem is that it says permanently. It's not permanent. So why do they say that? Then hearing services will be covered under Medicare. I do not know if it's a check for it, or if they're going to have, or they're just going to say, go get it, and we'll cover the expense, so you won't have to pay anything out of pocket. Either way, it's the same financial benefit to you. Checks of $550 to college students for the Pell Grant. Checks for $65 per child when they have to stay home from school during the summer. And while in school, free meals. And then $150 billion for construction, rehab, and improvement of homes. And yes, you're hearing for the first time tonight, there's money in there for the purchase price of your first home. Wow. I know someone's going to say, can you find the number for me? I will try. There's a lot going on today, but I'm very fast at saying what the number is. It's just huge. So what do I think is going to go in there? I think the vision and the dental. Here's where I think the number is going to happen, and I don't think it's going to happen on the House side. I think it's going to happen on the Senate side. Bernie says it's unconscionable to have this provision not included. How much would the vision be? It could be $150 vouchers, $50 eye exam, and then $100 for new glasses per year. Very, very simple. All people on Medicare, millions and millions of seniors. It's just a simple provision. It's very cheap. Of the three provisions, it's the cheapest. We already know the hearing is in there. Then the money for for dental. The last offer was $850 vouchers, $850 vouchers. Direct to you. It's a check to you. $850 if you're a senior every year for dental. It's not a lot. It's better than nothing. But it would certainly cover cleaning. It would not cover procedures, because $850, at least in Los Angeles, that doesn't cut it, but it's better than nothing. Now, Bernie thinks that if I was to read tea leaves, I think that this is going to be added, and I think if it's not added on the Senate side, I think the Senate bill is going to go off the tracks. It'll stay in the subcommittee until it's fixed. Remember, he's the budget chairman. So he's the Senate budget chairman. He's not the House budget chairman. So he has a lot of ways to do things if he's looking at and saying things are missing across the board. Let's see anything else in my notes that tee up inconsistencies across the board. We now know that the price tag is not 1.75, it's likely 1.95, but when we see that congressional budget report, it may be higher. And yes, this is why I bring this up, because the exclusion of an MSE or a stimulus check IRS would bring it up higher, but they're not having problems raising higher. $60,000 or less for the child care tax credit is what I show. We paid leave. It was originally 12 weeks, everyone. Then it was 4 weeks for only certain people. Now we see tonight it's 4 weeks for everyone. Wow, and that's $200 billion. I don't know how many years it is. It may be for a decade, because if you look at the analysis, 12 weeks, everyone, $500 billion. Tonight, 4 weeks, everyone, $200 billion. So how long is that? Well, it's one third of 500. It looks like it's a decade. It may be a decade based upon my impromptu calculation. Wasn't that fast? I did that really fast. I'm good with math. Housing aid, 175. I mean, that's an incredible number. Third stimulus was $47 billion. So 175 is huge. And then in-home health care, wow. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven across the board. And that student loan debt would be $10,000. The Democrats should take it. The president's offered an executive order. It would not be by recon. It would be by executive order of $10,000 student loan debt forgiven. They should take it. This would follow the 3 rounds he did before, which was individuals who became disabled after graduations, individuals who went into the nonprofit sector for 10 years after graduation, and people who went into the public sector for 10 years after graduation. Meantime, fifth stimulus is coming right behind fourth stimulus, and fifth stimulus is heating up. Fifth stimulus, I'll be covering a little bit more later this week because we have so much going on with fourth stimulus. But the great news is they want it to happen. They want it to happen later this year, starting next year, and get it done by recon. This would raise your benefits up not 1, 2, or 3 times. At the way it calculates at the moment, I haven't done this before on camera, based upon my estimate of where inflation is going to be next December, it now mirrors that of Jay Powell, who testified on Capitol Hill, your Fed chair. He says 2 to 3%. So let's go with 2. You're going at 5.9 now. Then they want to lift you up one time. I presume it's about maybe 3, 4, 5%. Then there would be 2% on that. So you can run the numbers. If you're looking at a check that you get monthly right now, times it by 5.9%, then times it by, let's say, 3% for that one-time lift, and then times it again by, let's say, 2% for December's lift. That's how much your check would be starting in 2023. The first lift would start in 2022, but the second one would be in 2023. It's incredible, great news. Meantime, if you haven't become a member, why not? Why not? The membership newsletter comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time from this channel. The membership newsletter is sent from the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. It's at news.la.com/alerts. The great news, if you missed it yesterday, was that viewers are continuing to get big sums of money across the board. And those big sums of money are coming in daily. I detailed some of them yesterday because of running time. I don't think I have time to detail them tonight. But yeah, we had one viewer who got money for her medication paid for by a nonprofit. We had Mark who went back and got more money for utilities. I think it was $18,000, and he got more money for SNAP, which brought him up to $28,000. As soon as third stimulus became law, and this is part of tonight's commentary, as soon as third stimulus became law, people are focused on a $14 stimulus check. When is it landing? Where is it landing? Where is it? How is it? Where is it? I said, focus on the $15,000 in the recon. Even then, when it was February, I didn't know if I could get people to focus on that money. But I hit it so hard over and over again. I said, listen, there's a lot of money in this recon. And you may have not done this before in your life where you picked up a phone and asked for certain types of money to pay you. But this is your opportunity, and that money is there. The only thing that happened was that I undervalued it. It wasn't $15,000. The average view of this channel got $45,000. Tonight, you're seeing that lots of more programs are going into this recon, like paid leave that will pay you thousands of dollars a week. Like that first-time home purchase. Yeah, I thought it was out. I was reporting it was out as of this morning. Unbeknownst to me, it slid in there. How much is it? I'm going to find it, and I'm going to show you how to get that money. All these items pay you money. They are checks. They are literally checks, with the exception of items like the home health care, where they're not actually sending you the check. They're sending it to the county, and then they're going to provide you the service for free. But these items are checks, lots of stimulus checks across 3 clusters. That's why it's a recon that is a behemoth, heading from 1.75 to 1.95 and could go even higher. Lots of checks. And it takes an effort to listen to a video, and I appreciate your effort you have put through over the last few days, learning the programs. Situation's been very fluid, and I hope you've been taking notes, because as I look at the things, you see my excitement pop up from my eyes. The excitement is every time that big checks are in there, and when the duration is big, like 10 years, that is huge. I have viewers now who are going to be getting $28,000 every year that they have that same family, that same wife, those same kids over the next 10 years. That's going to be $280,000 they got from my channel. Can you imagine that one family that could have focused on a total $4,000 stimulus check on the third stimulus, or $4,000, because that was the total you can get as a family of 4. Now we'll be getting $280,000 over the next 10 years because of my recordings. That is how I was able to show people to refocus. Lots of money in this recon, lots of it. For seniors, for people who are young, for people with children, for people without children, for people in red states, for people in blue states, for Purple Hawks, for non-Purple Hawks, all across the board. And that is why I'm very excited for you. My opinion, I don't think the vote will happen tonight. I think they'll try to attempt the vote tonight, and then the vote will potentially happen maybe a day or 2 later. I don't think the vote should be held up based upon the Congressional Budget Report. I think they sort of know what it is and what it isn't. I think they should just send it off to the Senate. I am not hearing anyone really so much on the record opposed to the vote tonight or opposed to the provisions. Let me make that clear. I do not hear anyone that is a House member tonight saying, I don't like this provision, I'm voting against it. So that's totally new. I just hear them saying, I want a little bit more clarity to look at stuff. Just, a skim read. As AOC once said. They just give you the bill and they say, go vote. There you go. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Join me next on Evenings LALATE. Do not miss it. It's at 5 o'clock. Overnight's Crypto coming up right after this show. But the Evenings LA 5 o'clock show is going to be huge. We'll either be live or taped. I'll see what happens. And then we got shows at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. Boy, it's a very fluid situation. Join me tomorrow because the situation is far from over. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful afternoon. And join me next on Overnight's Crypto and Evenings LALATE with the breaking news about your recon.